All right, we've got an urgent alert coming out. They are from the FBI, and these things are coming out rapid fire. I'm trying to do the best I can to catch up with all the intelligence coming in, all the notices that are being put out to law enforcement, and I'm trying to get it out to you as soon as I can. If you don't want to miss anything, go to christianwarriortraining.com. I put it out there first, so that way you have all the information. Now look, today, FBI and Homeland Security put out a public service announcement. Now, this is the worst written public notice about possible terrorist activity I've ever seen. Now, they said that, and I want you to read between the lines when we look at this, all right? They put out this public service announcement that says, anniversary of October 7th, 2023, Hamas attacks may motivate individuals to violence in the United States. Now, we went from high risk of attack to imminent risk of attack just yesterday using the church security threat level system. Churches are at severe and imminent risk of attacks. We're going to talk in the end about what you're going to do to protect your church, but let's talk about the threat that's coming in right now. Now, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, they're issuing this public service announcements to highlight potential threats in the United States from a variety of actors in response to the one-year anniversary of the Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th, 2023, and consistent calls by foreign terrorist organizations, which is ISIS, to their supporters seeking to provoke violence in the West. Now, we're going to talk about the threat. It really bothers me how they phrase this threat. It's very obvious to me that they're trying to cover themselves in an election year. Let's read between the lines. So the FBI and DHS assessed the one-year anniversary of October 7th attacks that initiated the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, as well as any further significant escalations in the conflict, may be a motivating factor for violent extremists and hate crime perpetrators to engage in violence or threaten public safety. Do you see what they're doing there? They're throwing out the hate crime people right now. That's not hate crime against Christians going to church. They're going to frame whatever happens this weekend at churches or a little bit thereafter. They're going to try and frame that is some hate group that came out because it's an election year and they want their votes. Remember how I've been telling you for the past 2 years that the FBI, since before October 7th, the FBI has been going to all of the COP conferences saying that Middle Eastern terrorism is not the problem anymore, that it's right-wing extremism. Do you see with that phrase what they're doing? Okay. So let's continue. Over the past year, we have observed violent extremist activity and hate crimes in the United States linked to the conflict. Jewish, Muslim, or Arab institutions, including synagogues, mosques, Islamic centers, and community centers, and large public gatherings such as memorials, vigils, and other lawful demonstrations, present attractive targets for violent attacks or for hoax threats by a variety of threat actors, including violent extremists and hate crime perpetrators. Do you notice that Christians are missing out of that? The people that they're saying, the foreign terrorist organizations, they are saying the people that are going to perpetrate this are going to target mosques. The Christian churches are missing out of this. Do you see what DHS and FBI is doing here? The head of the FBI has been coming out and saying Christian churches and Jewish synagogues are at risk. They've never talked about mosques. Now they're throwing that in there. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I'm becoming one when I see press releases put out like this. I am from the 9/11 era where I was working narcotics and we got roped into all these Homeland Security investigations. I've never seen anything like this ever. This is a huge red flag for me, okay? Let's continue on. Just notice that Christian churches are absent and they are just talking about Jewish synagogues and mosques and no Christian churches, even though that's what they've been warning about. This is ridiculous. Such actors may view the anniversary as an opportunity to conduct an attack or another high-profile illegal activity. FTOs, which is a foreign terrorist organization, and other violent extremists likely will continue to exploit narratives related to the conflict to call for lone attackers to conduct violence in the United States. Online messaging associated with FTOs and other violent extremists highlighting the one-year anniversary of the October 7th attacks could motivate threat actors across ideologies, including those who espouse violent anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, to engage in violence. Individuals inspired by this online messaging could act alone to commit an attack with little to no warning. They've been warning us that Christian churches and Jewish synagogues are going to get attacked. Christian churches are not listed there, but they did put in large gatherings, which is your church. ISIS has told their followers to attack Christian churches. I put us on the imminent threat threshold yesterday because October 7th was coming up and terrorists love anniversaries. I have had no faith in the federal government. The FBI, I've never had faith in them. I've worked cases with them before. I've never had faith in them. And over the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they have been an absolute joke. And when I've trained FBI, and those guys are in my class, I'm like, what's going on? They realize, the agents, the field guys realize they are a joke. This is sad. This tells me that our federal government is not ready for what is going to happen. I hope that I am wrong. I pray that I am wrong and that nothing is going to happen. But all the indicators point that something is going to happen either on October 7th or leading up to Election Day. We have 30,000 Hezbollah agents in the United States right now. I talked to a separate other JTTF agent just last night who told me that he has spoken with Iranian agents in the United States who said they are just waiting for the call. Hard times are coming. Let's talk about how you're going to take care of your church. Okay. I've been getting some grief from people because I said, don't stand in front of your church with an AR-15. To be clear, you need to be smart. If you stand in front of your church with an AR, you're not solving anything. Okay. Listen to my words. Don't shut off the video yet and then make some stupid comment. Okay. That is not good tactics. I have been in this position before. It's called a quick reaction force, QRF or QRT. You can have guys that are trained, that know what they're doing with ARs, but like put them nearby, out of sight, in a vehicle. Vans, I always used vans. Vans work perfect. You can quickly deploy. You're like right there and you end up backdooring the guy when he comes in. It's perfect, right? But standing out front, number one, it's poor tactics. But number two, people that want to come to Christ, because they are going to need to come to Christ with everything that's going on. It creates a barrier for them to come in. Go take your guys and put them somewhere where they can quickly respond, but keep them out of sight. That is the smart thing to do. Okay. So for those of you that were being keyboard commandos down in the comments, that's for you. All right. Apparently common sense isn't so common. All right. You should only have entrances open that you can cover with armed security. We'll talk about, for those of you behind enemy lines, they can't possess firearms. Okay. But if let's say if you have 5 entrances and you can only cover 2, then you only have 2 open that day and you cover those with armed security, you should be posted out front in the parking lot, watching people come in. If you can do it, a second layer inside in the meeting area, and then finally somebody inside the church. If you don't have enough people, then find out who you can rely on. Those retired cops, current cops, guys that work security, guys that were in the military, and I'm not talking like they were a 91 Alpha or a cook or whatever. I'm talking about guys that were in combat arms, okay? Grasp on those people and then use them as you see fit. Remember to keep your church open and welcoming for people to come worship Christ, okay? For those of you stuck behind enemy lines, okay? This is looking at you, California, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, right? I did a great video where I went to a Krav Maga studio and we talked about improvised weapons. Canes work wonderfully well. So does bear spray, pepper spray, anything like that. Just know that if somebody goes on the attack in your church, the feds like to teach run, hide, fight. You need to emphasize the fight part. Otherwise, the killing will continue. Remember how I told you how I envisioned that these active shooter incidents are going to occur. It's going to happen with multiple groups of fighters attacking multiple different places at the same time. They're going to attack all these different places. Law enforcement cannot respond to 1, let alone 10 that are occurring in the same city. When they're done, they're going to move on. Maybe they might lose 1 terrorist team during the attack, but they got 9 more and they'll move on somewhere else. My recommendation to you, you should be talking to all the other churches in your area. Talk to each other and put each other on a text group. I would use Signal because I don't trust the feds. If you use Signal, look up Signal app on your phone. It is encrypted and the FBI is trying to write a search warrant for them before and didn't get anything, so I trust it. Get off Telegram. Telegram's compromised, so stop using Telegram, okay? Get on the Signal app and start messaging each other. If you have an attack in your city or in your county, that is the time to lock your church down. Lock it down, go heavy out front to make sure that people don't come, bad people don't come in, only the good people come in. And then after an hour or 2, after things settle down, then go ahead and release your people. It's important to contact that church and see what resources they need that you can provide. Things are coming out quickly. I'm either doing live streams or I'm doing pre-recorded like this and then putting it up right away. I'm trying to see what gets the message out the most. I did a live stream earlier today about a church arson, or what looked like a church arson up in Quebec, and that would be important for you to go back and look. Make sure you hit that notification bell on YouTube so that way you get alerted when I put something out. It's important over the next month. Make sure you're a subscriber over at ChristianWarriorTraining.com. Everything is always free, but do me a favor. These videos get demonetized, and it does cost money to run these things. Only if you can afford it. You can do a paid subscription to Christian Warrior Training, and that helps me pay the bills and get things rolling here. If you can't afford it, no worries, man. Don't worry about it. Let the rich people handle it, all right? Do me a favor, 2 things you're going to do when you leave here. You're going to pray unceasingly for the protection of all of our churches and all of our people and for your families. You're going to pray that God gives you the discernment you need to find the evil that's trying to invade our sanctuaries, and that you have the power, the strength to stop them before they enter. The last thing that you need to remember is to remember ABCs. Always be caring.